recognized symbol of excellence for your entertainment.
Welcome to Machino Music, the show that puts some music in Machino Music, with your host, me, Brett Strong. Today on Machino Music, we'll be talking all about disco movies. Good afternoon, everybody. Disco movies. That's what we're talking about here today. Yeah, I've done sort of these shows where I talk about different music-themed movies that are like made or, about have a certain style of music associated with them. Like I've done with the other ones, I've done punk and new wave movies and also heavy metal movies. But these aren't movies that are necessarily have anything to do with the style of music or even necessarily really feature the style of music. Some of them are just kind of a vibe. Although with these movies, I mean, they're pretty disco. Because disco was so mainstream. They made a lot of disco movies. Because disco was like pop music. It was just like everybody was doing the disco thing. So you got so many more movies that just were just cashing in on the disco thing. Everyone got on a disco wave. Before I get into the movies that I actually own, I'm going to talk about just a few sort of honorable mentions that I don't have copies to show because they're actually pretty hard to find. First, I'm going to talk about a movie called Thank God It's Friday from 1978. Disco's kind of like right in the middle there. Because disco really only went from you could say 1976, 77, kind of the big explosion, up until it was pretty well dead by 1980, but you had a little kind of trail, and we'll get into that as we do this. So this is right in the middle. This is 1978. Stars Donna Summer. Yeah, Donna Summer was a big deal. Hey, she's cute, she's pretty. Let's put her in a movie. She looks like she could be a leading lady in a movie, and she does all right. Starring a young Jeff Goldblum as well. But it's kind of a fun movie. I kind of like the vibe of this one. It's just like people all hanging around disco, and they did two girls and we were talking about going to a Kiss concert in the middle of a disco movie. So it's like, all right. I guess you the rock fans were not disco fans, although it was two girls. Guys often went where the girls were, so maybe, hey, these girls are kind of bit into everything, which, girls, at least back then, kind of were. The boys would follow. But yeah, fun movie. Thank God It's Friday. And also the Commodores appear in this one. Lionel Richie, young Lionel Richie, the big afro. Great. So yeah, Thank God It's Friday. All right, next from 1980, I'm going Xanadu. Kind of a notorious, awful movie, but has a big cult following. 1980s, kind of alright, disco's kind of going down the tubes. But we still got this movie, we're putting it out. Olivia Newton-John, at kind of the height of her powers. She's the star. This one's also got the guy who played Swan in The Warriors. I think it's the only other kind of thing of note that he did. He's in The Warriors, and now he's in Xanadu, roller skating around. It's all, I think it's the blue people. It's kind of like Tron on roller skates. That's what this is. It's Xanadu. Yeah. Great, actually a really good title of the song. That's the song. Every movie had to have a theme song. Yeah, there's Xanadu has a pretty good theme song sung by Olivia Newton-John. So yeah, kind of a notorious movie. Also, this one, really obscure, Record City. Saw this one on Tubi. I thought I'd mention it. Really super obscure. That's why it's on Tubi. Tubi's got everything. Love me some Tubi. Because you're the only place you're going to see movies like this. It's one of those sort of 70s hangout movies, very much like Car Wash, which is kind of a disco movie. Although sort of kind of predates disco a little bit. But Yeah, so they have like these sort of hangout movies. Thank God It's Friday is kind of the same vibe. People just are hanging out at a disco. This is people hanging out at a record store. Got a young Ed Begley Jr. in the cast. Also Ruth Buzzy, who's famous for being on Laugh-In. Also Ted Lang, the bartender from The Love Boat, is in this movie. Yeah, quite a 70s cast right there. Yeah, it's just, very much. I mean, the music is mostly disco, although you see all the other kind of rock album posters. In the background, you see, like, From the Inside. Alice Cooper, I believe, is in the background one of the scenes. Like, okay, cool, we got some rock in here, but most soundtrack's mostly all disco. Just a weird, forgotten movie, so I wanted to mention that one. So those are the ones I don't have copies of. Here are the ones I do have copies of. Let's get right into this here. From 2023, I decided to include Barbie as a great disco movie. Yeah, this was a big, huge hit. The #1 movie, the highest grossing movie, directed by a woman, the great Greta Gerwig. I love Greta Gerwig. One of my favorite, not just favorite directors, one of my favorite just creative people. One of my favorite creative artists. She's just so amazing. Love Greta Gerwig. And this really is a fun movie. I mean, it's got the controversy like, oh, it's man-hating, whatever this, like, I mean, I will agree that it is very, like, heavy-handed. Like, I think for me, like, I kind of think with this movie, they're having so much fun making it that I think they kind of thought, like, oh, yeah, we should have a message here. And you can, so the message at the end, which is like, just, okay, we're going to hammer this home. Okay, we have to have this big feminist message. Okay, yeah. But it's just kind of like, but the first half of it, especially all the stuff in Barbie Land, is so much fun. And that's where we get the disco connection, because there's that really fun scene where the Barbies are all dancing. The Barbies and Kens are dancing in the disco. You got the song Dance the Night by Dua Lipa. Fantastic song. Modern day disco song. Got a big disco ball in the music video. You got a disco ball in the scene. So it's a great disco scene. All the Barbies and Kens dancing. And this is Ken and Barbie right here. This is your live act. I want a threesome with Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling. That's my fantasy. I want that to happen. Give me the Barbie and Ken threesome. It'd be so much fun. But yeah, I wanted to include Barbie just mainly because it's just that scene is kind of like it was in all the trailers, the big disco scene, and that Dua Lipa song is fantastic. She's doing modern day disco. It's pop music now, you know. This is another one I just kind of included. I don't know why. From 1984, disco's dead. We're totally in. We're like a heavy metal. New wave is still really popular. But this movie is like, it has like one scene that takes place in a disco. It's Moscow on the Hudson, starring Robin Williams as a Russian immigrant who comes to New York City. And there's a scene where he's dancing in a disco. It was kind of like a Russian club, like with all the Russian people in New York, all the different places. It looks like a disco floor. So I don't know, I'm including it. I think I just wanted to talk about this, because who remembers this movie? It's like a totally forgotten Robin Williams movie. One of his early dramatic movies. I mean, some of the stuff, method acting. Talk about method acting. He learned to speak fluent Russian, and he learned how to play the saxophone for this movie. Wow. And he grew a beard. It's one of the early Robin Williams beard movies, because Good Will Hunting had a beard when he won the Oscar. So, that's what you do. You want to be taken seriously, grow a beard. So, yeah, I think I just wanted to mention this, but it does kind of have just that one kind of disco scene. Moscow on the Hudson. Garbage. Throw it away. Another one, this is like right tail end. I thought I'd just include it. Flashdance, 1983. Disco's pretty well dead. But I think this kind of counts as a disco movie, a dance movie. I mean, it's also kind of a rock and roll movie. Got a lot of different songs and styles on the soundtrack. But this is just, wow. I love Flashdance. This is Rocky if you're gay. It's that kind of movie. It's Jennifer Beals. I want to be Jennifer Beals. I love Jennifer Beals. That scene, I'm telling you, at the end of the movie, not to give anything away, but if you haven't seen Flashdance, and if you haven't, go right out now and see Flashdance. But that scene at the end when she aces that audition, I'm a mess. I'm blubbering like a baby. I'm bawling my eyes out. Gets me every time. So good. Maniac, that scene, kind of a disco song, but also kind of a rock song as well. Really cool. Michael Sembello, great guitar solo on that song. Fantastic tune. Also the title song, Flashdance, What a Feeling. Irene Cara, Oscar winner, Academy Award winning song. Yeah, that's kind of a disco tune. I think it's just because it's a dance movie. I mean, this is kind of like, it's sort of like the kind of last sort of kind of hurrah for disco, although we're, you know, some other music in here too. It's just a fun movie. Love Flashdance. And like I said, I just want to be Jennifer Beals. Love her. All right, next, from 1980, I'm going Midnight Madness. Gotta talk. This is like a completely forgotten movie. This is a Disney movie. This was Disney, one of their kind of early, kind of like adult kind of movies. It's rated PG. Disney doing a PG movie at the time. But this is not even on Disney Plus. I mean, Disney's completely distanced themselves from this movie for whatever reason. But it's got such a huge cult following. It is so much fun. But, you know, it's 1980, disco's kind of dying out. You know, it's very much like Xanadu. We talked about, I mean, you know, we're kind of tired of disco. But, like, we got this movie, we got to release it. But it's so much fun. It's about a group of college kids running around Los Angeles doing this big scavenger hunt, the Great All-Nighter. And it's so much fun. It's sort of Disney's version of Animal House, which was a massive hit. Well, we got to do that. They already kind of did their other PG movie, was kind of their version of Star Wars, the Black Hole. And then they did the Midnight Madness. Also, even stars Stephen Furst, who was in Animal House. Also has David Naughton, a year away from being in American Werewolf in London. And also he was just coming off the failed disco sitcom, Making It. He had a big hit with the theme song from that show. So, you know, it's very, very disco. But kind of, you know, disco's on the way out. Also got a very young Michael J. Fox. His first movie appearance, Michael J. Fox. And only a few years later, he'd be like the biggest star. Back to the Future. Yeah. But there's a few things in here that just totally make it disco. You have a scene, there's different teams in the movie, like just like the yellow team, David Naughton's guys, leader of the yellow team, the blue team, Stephen Furst guy is leader of the blue team, and then you have the white team, which is a bunch of nerds. Eddie Deason, another great great character actor from this time. Always played nerds. He was in Grease. He was in the great forgotten Beatles movie, I Want to Hold Your Hand. But then they have the red team. There's a picture of them here. Very small. But there's a scene where these two twins in the red team, these two heavy girls, are dancing in disco. So you got your disco scene in there, and it's a full-on 70s fun disco. And also, the theme song. We gotta talk about the theme song. Yes, like I say, every movie had to have a theme song. We're telling you about the movie. And this one, the title track, it is so great. I mean, it's such a catchy song. One of my favorite disco songs is the title song to this movie, Midnight Madness. It's just fantastic. It just tells you the whole movie. Just explains the whole game. And it's just, yeah. It's so. If you can track this movie down, definitely watch it, because just don't go to Disney Plus, because you're never going to find it. This DVD, I think you can still find. It hasn't been released, as far as I know. It hasn't gotten a proper Blu-ray release, hasn't gotten a 4K release, hasn't gotten anything. I think this DVD is really one of the only times you're ever going to find this movie. I don't even know what year this is from sometime in the early to mid 2000s. Yeah, very obscure movie. Yeah, Midnight Madness, so much fun. From 1997, Boogie Nights. You got to talk about this one. This is just a tribute to disco. Paul Thomas Anderson. So many great actors in here. All about the porn industry of the 1970s. Of course, disco was the soundtrack to that time. This is just a fantastic movie. Very long, but you don't even notice it. It's so engrossing. Like, it's 2 hours and 35 minutes. But for me, it just flies by, because you're just so engrossed. So many great actors in here. Mark Wahlberg and his prosthetic penis, playing Dirk Diggler. Dirk and his Diggler. Yeah, you get to see it. And it's a prosthetic, but still, it's really exciting for people. It was at the time, and so exciting now, especially that Mark Wahlberg is a much bigger star. But yeah, the late, great Philip Seymour Hoffman, fantastic in this movie. William H. Macy, Don Cheadle, Heather Graham, John C. Reilly, Burt Reynolds. Didn't even want to do this movie. Wanted nothing to do with it. The late, great, legendary Burt Reynolds wanted nothing to do with this. And it was the only time he was ever nominated for an Academy Award. So there you go. But he's great in this. Just the cast. I mean, top to bottom, such a fantastic. There's so many character actors, people you've seen and stuff, and they're doing some of their best work in here. It's just an absolutely phenomenal movie from 1997, tributing disco. It was a big deal when it came out. It's kind of sort of forgotten, I would say, but it still plays a lot, and you still sort of hear about it. But it's becomes sort of like underrated in a lot of ways. At least that's kind of how I feel about it. I mean, it's just a phenomenal movie. If you've never seen Boogie Nights, forget the porn stuff, just the character stuff and everything. And the soundtrack is so fantastic. A lot of great disco songs, other great 70s tunes on here. It's just fantastic. Great movie. Can't see it. Or you gotta have the Village People. You're talking about disco. 1980, again, this is like right at the end of disco. Beginning of the end here. Can't Stop the Music. The Village People movie. The Village People were massive. So we gotta give them a movie. Have to cash in on the Village People. And this is the movie we got. Probably, this is like the gayest movie ever made. Especially the YMCA sequence. That is the gayest scene ever filmed. Because, the YMCA song is about, hanging around with the boys at the YMCA. So that's what they show. And there's full frontal nudity in the scene. Can you believe? This movie is PG, so kids can watch this. And, they show the boys in the shower, and you see everything. And it's like, it's okay, because that would get an NC-17 much later on. I mean, when they made that a rating. If they take, you get so much, they just show it. But I guess nothing sexual is going on. They're just taking a shower. It's normal. So I guess But wow, you can't. But there's full frontal. It's amazing. There's full frontal nudity in this. You also got, I mean, the cast and the Bruce Jenner, or Caitlyn Jenner now, but this is Bruce Jenner. Yeah, it's kind of like a little bit of foreshadowing, maybe. But he was Captain America. If you went back in time, if you went like and told people that, you know, Bruce Jenner is going to be a woman named Caitlyn in the future, people would think you're crazy. But then watch him and Can't Stop the Music and you might go, yeah, okay, I feel you. I get it. Great opening sequence here. I love the opening. A young Steve Guttenberg. So like the first thing he did, his first big role before Police Academy. He's roller skating around New York City, just having a grand old time. One of the greatest opening sequences of all time. That's so much fun. And this is like still kind of like 70s gritty, dirty New York. I mean, it's during the day, but still, you know, he could still get shot. So that makes it even more funny than you think, you know, somebody could take him out. But this is, wow, this movie is insane. Like, it's just, it's hard to believe this ever existed. I mean, the Village People are, it's such a time. Like, this is so of its time, where you just kind of look at, like, this is disco culture, this is the 70s, but it's like right at the tail end. It's like it started at the beginning of the end, 1980, and yeah. Wow. Seek this one out. The Village People, like nothing you've ever seen before. Yeah, it definitely is like nothing you've seen before. Can't Stop the Music. And we're closing out here from 1977. You have to have this one. This is the disco movie. This is the one that really blew it up. 1977 was the big year for disco. Saturday Night Fever. I mean, this was the one. This is the movie that kind of turned everybody on the Bee Gees. Bee Gees became the Antichrist. They became everything was wrong with music because they were doing disco. They were like kind of like a Beatles-esque pop band before. They were just, but those disco songs were great. Love the Bee Gees, and it's phenomenal songs, and it really helps make this movie a lot of fun. Very, very of its time. It does not hold up particularly well, at least some of the things, but you know, there's stuff that will shock you, like some of the dialogue, some of the themes in this movie, kind of, you know, something that you see, like people go like I know people who've seen this movie and have heard a lot about it, thinking just, you know, it's going to be all like a fun disco movie, dancing and everything. Yeah, you get that, but then you get some stuff where people are like, whoa, I'm surprised, but well, yeah, it's very, very much of its time. Very dark, gritty movie. Actually, a little darker than a lot of people kind of expecting. But it's very realistic movie. And that's what made it so popular as well, is that it was very, you know, very dark and gritty. It's 1970s New York. I mean, they kind of show both sides of that. The fun, hey, let's forget about everything. Let's go to the disco and have a good time. And let's also hear our real lives. And it's really that. So there's some pretty heavy stuff in here. But it's just a great, great, great movie. I mean, it's the soundtrack. And John Travolta. He was Vinnie Barbarino on Welcome Back, Kotter. And now here he is starring in a movie. And he's just, look at him. And that's all you need right there. That's just like, that is like the defining picture of the 70s. John Travolta in that white suit. And that dance scene that he does, the solo dance number, wow, what a phenomenal scene. Also that iconic opening title sequence to Staying Alive where he's walking down, oh man, so great. Saturday Night Fever, kind of defining disco movie. So there you go, disco movies, and maybe a couple other genres maybe I can do, but I've kind of done the big main ones, punk and new wave, heavy metal, and now disco movies, because you can't really do pop music movies because there's kind of like everything kind of pop music. Maybe just some general rock and roll movies that maybe I could do. But again, that's kind of very broad as well. There's not really anything you can really say, okay, this is disco, this is heavy metal, this is punk, new wave. But this was a lot of fun. I love talking about, sometimes kind of go and talk about some movies here on Machino Music because we are Machino Music Films. That's kind of our bread and butter here. So, if you're a fan of these movies, if you're a fan of disco, I hope you enjoyed this. That's it for this week. Until we meet again, this is Brett Strong saying, good journey.